Stacy Hawkins Adams, and it is my pleasure to join you for a few minutes today to introduce you to this lovely young lady who's joining me, Caliyah. Caliyah is going to share some of her inspiring story with us to give you a sense of what you can expect when you attend my brunch on Saturday, October 22nd at Lewis Ginter Botanical Garden. The brunch is called Still We Rise, celebrating the power of women's stories. And wow, do I have an amazing lineup of women prepared to share their stories with you that day. And what you hear from Caliyah will represent what you're going to see there today, because in her own right, she is a blossoming young lady with an amazing story that we should help her celebrate. So welcome, Caliyah. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Miss Adams. Like Miss Adams said, my name is Caliyah Bennett. I am a native to Richmond, Virginia. I am currently a rising junior at Denison University, which is located in the Ohio area. Double majoring in Black Studies and Journalism with the hopes of attending law school right after undergrad. I'm also a track runner. I run hurdles and I run sprints, short hurdles and short sprints. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I'll just turn 20, so.
Happy birthday. Tell us a little bit about how you got to that amazing place in Denison. Like, tell us a little bit about maybe some of the bumps in the road that you encountered in high school.
So yeah, high school was a very difficult time. It was one of the times where I was confronted with dealing with a parent who battles with substance abuse. It was it was difficult, but it helped me understand, what my purpose is in life as well, but also understand that things you can't let things get in the way of what you have going on. Some things are out of your control, but if you just show up, give it your 110% every single time and everything that you do, it'll always be better on the inside.
Right. And so one of the reasons I asked you to share this story is because, of course, you mentioned you run track in college, and my son runs track in college, and you two are high school teammates, and you both, had a wonderful friendship bond there, which I love. But also, you were very resilient. Can you talk a little bit about when you say that you had a parent that dealt with the substance abuse issues? Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about how that impacted you in real time? Like, what did that look like? What did that feel like? And how is your mom doing today?
Well, first off, mom is doing great. Mom is celebrating 5 years clean of sobriety. So we've come a very long way. But I can tell you, like we both said, it has not been easy. In high school, they teach you the signs of what to look for in a family member that has or is facing addiction, and you think but sometimes the signs are just not there. And I think the relationship that I have with my mom, we are very close. So it's not like, she hid anything from me. She did hide her addiction from me, but I was also in denial as well. But, we faced a lot of hardships due to her addiction, facing eviction, being impoverished, of course, just not being able to, like I said, maintain a roof over our head. We had a lot of falling out with various family members that I was close with at one point in time, and then didn't hear from them again because of her addiction. And it really affected me internally, because for a long time, I didn't think that, she loved me enough to face her addiction. So I had to deal with that, but I really just kind of didn't really hold it against her, actually, because addiction is a terrible disease. It really is. She never stopped being my mother. At the end of the day, she provided for me, she fed me, she kept me clothed. She didn't really let her addiction get in the way, but it got in the way of her professional life, and it got away in the way of my professional life as well. Her not being able to be there for me as much due to her being incarcerated, or due to her having the addiction. And so um after a while, you kind of have to stop thinking about, how a person would feel if you would let them know that something's hurting you. That was the biggest thing. I was very scared of letting my mother know that, hey, I know, and it's hurting me, because I didn't I didn't want to tell my mom, that she was doing something bad, that she was making a mistake. But you learn to do that, and once you learn to do that, it changes your life entirely. Become your own person. You put your foot down, first of all, and you take control of your own life, because even as a little kid, it was like that was my mother, but I couldn't let her decisions affect my life. So I just talked to her about it. Luckily she had the resources to get clean. In this particular case, there's this program that Henrico Court offers, which helps those who are incarcerated with drug abuse get clean through Henrico Drug Court. And she did that and got her life back on track. And ever since then, things have just been really good.
That's awesome. But I think it's amazing that as a young person, you had the courage to, number one, talk to her about it, and number two, realize that you had to separate yourself from what you were going through. How did you manage to do that?
So talking to people, using those who help you, those who are in your corner, you utilizing them, that helped me a lot. I was at a school with amazing resources, with amazing people who were willing to do anything for a bright student like me. I just had to, I wouldn't say stop relying on my mom, but stop letting her situation get in the way of something that would benefit me. So I talked to people. I put myself out there a lot in school. I mean, I was into theater, into the sports, into ethics. I tried to, though I did use those things as distractions, I would say, to distract me with what was going on. But, I found passion in those things as well. And I stayed true to my studies. I focused on my studies. I tried to just always come in with a better attitude than the day I had, be better than you were yesterday. Like I applied that to so much. And no matter how minute it might have felt, it made a really big difference. So yeah, talking to people and just like, persevering, like you gotta pick yourself up and keep it pushing. My mother's one of the strongest people I know. So she taught me, you can't, if something knocks you down the third time, just make sure it doesn't knock you down the fourth time. Just keep picking yourself up and keep pushing, because that's all you can do in this life is keep pushing.
I love that. And I know your mom because I sat next to her at some of the track meets and she cheered way louder than me and any of us there. So I can see that spirit in her. I guess I should say the reason we're having this conversation is because you gave a senior speech. So at the school that you attended and that my son attended, all the seniors can give a senior speech of their choosing, not mandated by anyone. But you chose to speak about your mom. You chose to talk about how your mom had inspired you. So, number one, what gave you the courage to do that? Because again, a lot of folks might have wanted to hide that, and then share a little bit with us about from that speech what you shared.
I think I really used that as an outlet to, give me that first stepping stone with confronting my mother. To be honest, I hadn't confronted her yet when I was writing my senior speech. I was still kind of like, how am I going to do this? Because I don't want her to feel put out, but I also, needed to show people that, addiction can be a scary thing, but it doesn't change who that person is at all. Like everyone at that time wanted to highlight the bad of my mom, that she was addicted, that she was, kind of, I guess, careless about my own life, which is true. And we can acknowledge that. But I wanted to highlight, that my mom was still my mom. She showed up to the PTA meetings when she could. She was there for me when she could. She made sure that I stayed on my own studies, and she gave me that relationship that I mean, I couldn't find anywhere else. Like that was my mom. And so I use that as like an outlet, kind of like a little push to push me to, go ahead and talk about it, because I kept it bottled up for so long because I was afraid of hurting her feelings, making her feel guilty, that I just kind of internalized it and dealt with it myself. And it got to be too much. Like at one point, it just got to be too much. So I needed to get it out there. And I needed it to get out there with my own voice, not the voice of someone else. I needed my mom to hear it from me. I'm aware of the addiction, but I forgive you and we can work through this. And I needed everyone else to understand you never know what someone's going through. I mean, the amount of, love I received after that, no one knew what I was going through, and I take pride in that because like I said, I didn't let the situation affect me too much. I took control of my own life. I showed up to school most of the time with a smile on my face, but like I stayed true to who Caliyah was, and everyone has their ups and downs, but utilizing my senior speech gave me the advantage to just talk about it and spread what I can with what I have.
That's so amazing. I was so proud of you that day when I watched that speech because it was during the pandemic, so I
Virtual.
watched it on Zoom. But I'm still very proud of you. And I guess, there are young people who will see this message and other adults who are raising young people or nurturing young people. What is your advice? Because I don't know that all of those young people have that resilience yet or
Yeah.
that courage to keep pushing when they're facing something hard. So what would your, I guess, advice be to the young person? And then what would your advice be to the adults surrounding young people who are struggling with something?
To the young people specifically, it comes with time. You know, there's only so much you can learn at your age. There's only so much you can do at your age. You know, it's a difference between a 50-year-old strength and a 10-year-old strength. You know, you haven't experienced much life. So what I'll say to young people is, at some 18 is not just the legal age to take control of your life. You know, if there's a situation you got going on at home, you get the help that you need. Use the resources that are in your corner. And I know, coming from an urban area like myself, you don't like to ask for help. You do not like to be given handouts. You don't like to be looked at as weak, or expressing your feelings is weak. Talking about certain situations is weak. Giving up is weak. And I disagree with that. Some days you can't give your full 100, and that's okay. But just acknowledge that and try no matter what. You are the only person who gets to live your life. So take it one day at a time, and actively try to take control of your own life. And then for older people, I'd say adults, you know, just be graceful. Be graceful. Allow grace. Kids are tricky to manage, especially kids who are going through things. They don't tend to open up as much, or don't take it personal. As a parent, please don't take it personal if we choose not to open up. And I understand how that can make a parent feel. A parent wants to be there for their child. They don't like to see their child hurt. None of that. But kids are human beings as well. So it takes a little while for a child to open up. Just be there for them. Make sure they're okay. And as long as you're okay with making sure that they're okay, then I promise everything's going to be okay.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Well, again, very proud of you. I appreciate you sharing your story. And I want you to know that we all are celebrating your story and that there's more to come in this amazing journey as you become an attorney and all else that you are called to be. So, again, this is Stacy Hawkins Adams. This has been a snippet from my Celebrating the Power of Women's Stories series leading up to the brunch that will be held at Lewis Ginter Botanical Garden in Richmond, Virginia on Saturday, October 22nd. For more information on the brunch, you can visit my website, stacyhawkinsadams.com. And again, Caliyah, we thank you and we wish you all the best at Denison.
Thank you.